My amnesiac husband remembered. He is the pride of the unfeeling path. When we divorced, he left me a settlement. When I opened the treasure chest, a man popped out. It is a surprise box. Later, I wrote to thank my ex-husband. Thanks for the box. The man inside is very useful. We're getting married soon. He is going to perform backflips on the spot. Do you want to come and see? Li Xianyun flew over on his sword overnight. His cold, detached face was on the verge of collapse. I didn't put a person in the box. To help me find a missing chicken. Li Xianyun split an entire mountain in two. Once the immortal sect was alerted, they came looking. The immortals knelt before my husband, weeping. That was when I realized. The husband I picked up was the prodigy who sealed the demon lord. He had gone missing after the Great War 3 years ago. He had become my bedfellow. The pure, ethereal, immortal venerable fell into the mortal world. From then on, he fed chickens and ducks and delivered piglets. He grew attached to the warmth of our bed. When Li Xianyun took the elixir to restore his memory, he opened his eyes slowly, his gaze clear and sharp. He apologized to me. I am sorry, Miss Chen. I must return to save the common people. It is all right. The autumn harvest is almost here. Could you come back to help me cut the wheat when you have time? I can't finish the work by myself. In the past, Li Xianyun alone did the work of all the young men in our village. He was the best at harvesting wheat every year. He even won a flock of chickens for me. With him here, I never had to worry about the harvest. But upon hearing my words, the others covered their mouths and chuckled. A woman in white grew teary-eyed. She knelt before me and pleaded. Miss Chen, Immortal Venerable Li has already wasted 3 years here with you. The people are suffering. The world is in chaos. How can you be so selfish as to keep him all to yourself? You only care about yourself, ignoring the entire world. Is this how your family taught you? But I am an orphan. Besides, Li Xianyun works very fast. He can finish harvesting the wheat in less than a minute. Is he the only one capable of saving the common people? Are all the immortals here useless? I was curious, but I didn't ask. Because everyone was staring at me, as if I were a barbaric shrew. That is how commoners are. They only have eyes for romance. She just wants to monopolize the Immortal Venerable. If it weren't for the Demon Lord, how could we let her desecrate Immortal Venerable Li? I looked at Li Xianyun. Last night, he was still coaxing me by the bedside. One more kiss, and I'll chop more firewood tomorrow, okay? Today, Li Xianyun merely lifted his eyelids. He took out a divorce decree. Miss Chen, please sign it. I can compensate you. The other immortals were displeased. Immortal Venerable Li, she is a mere mortal who has been graced by you. She has already gained a longer life. This is the greatest blessing she could ever hope for. She should be kowtowing to thank you. And you are still offering her compensation. Before I could flip their tea table over, Li Xianyun sighed and raised his hand to stop the objections. I thought he was going to clarify the favor I did for him, like how I saved him from the jaws of a stray dog, leaving my arm scarred to this day. I broke my arm trying to find herbs to treat his wounds, and I rushed back through a heavy rainstorm to boil the medicine. Back then, Li Xianyun's eyes were wet with tears. He held my hand and promised to never leave my side. But now Li Xianyun looks down at me, his gaze filled with pity. It doesn't matter that I wasted 3 years, but one only lives for 100 years. For Miss Chen, these 3 years are precious time. I should compensate her. My ears were buzzing. To him, this was 3 years wasted. Even when men become immortals, they remain cold-hearted. Just like my father who, after passing his imperial exams, forced his original wife to divorce him, full of talk about benevolence and morality but actually looking down on everyone. But I am not like my mother who threw herself off a cliff when her man left. I am afraid of pain and death, so I quickly signed the divorce decree. But the immortals were all holding swords, their gleam icy and sharp. I was frightened, my hand shaking. I couldn't remember how to write my own name. Li Xianyun reached out and naturally supported my fingers. I signed it. You don't need to stall for time, nor do you need to be fixated on me. After the separation, Li Xianyun had someone bring out a treasure chest. Sounds were coming from inside. Seeing my confusion, Li Xianyun explained calmly. A spirit pet for you, it can guard the house. The day before yesterday, our old guard dog passed away. The little dog grew up with me. It accompanied me as I learned to walk. It walked with me on dark nights. It guarded our home. And now it has become just a mound of dirt. I cried until my pillow was soaked, afraid of being all alone. Without a companion, Li Xianyun comforted me, saying he would always be there. Looking at the box containing the spirit pet, I thought Li Xianyun was still thinking about our past. I tried hard to find a trace of reluctance on his face, but Li Xianyun put down the box and left, without looking back even once. A group of immortals stepped out of my small courtyard. They trampled the fence. The blade energy sliced through the flowers and trees that Li Xianyun and I had planted together. The chicken coop that Li Xianyun had just built this morning also fell apart. The hens were running everywhere. It was a mess. Li Xianyun was held back by that woman in white. She pointed at me and whispered, "Why not attain the Tao now? She is just a mortal. It would be much easier to just do it." She is not. Who says I am not? Even after separating, you still want to badmouth your ex-wife. You have such poor character. I was so angry I slammed the door shut, staring at the large chest Li Xianyun had left behind. My heart felt hollow. Whatever, time to open it. Such a wealthy immortal sect. I wonder how many treasures they left me. They were right. I really am just a worldly person. Otherwise, I wouldn't have saved Li Xianyun from the mouth of a wild dog and brought him home to use as free labor. I didn't lose out, having an immortal warm my bed for 3 years. When I opened the box, a white light flashed. Inside, there were no gold or silver treasures, only a man who was 8 feet tall. He had silver hair and features almost demonic in their beauty. His complexion was pale, and his smile was arrogant. "Li Xianyun gave me to you. I suppose you must be quite the ruthless character. Whatever tricks you have, bring them on." I used a handkerchief to gag him. I rushed out the door to ask Li Xianyun what this meant. To give his ex-wife a man right after a separation. Isn't that a bit too extravagant? If you could send one, why not send more? The group of immortals riding their swords, like a flock of geese, had already swept across the sky. I chased after them shouting, "Li Xianyun! Li Xianyun! Are you really giving me what was in the box? Are you really giving me this 8-foot-tall, beautiful man?" They were too far away, and the group of immortals above were laughing. Immortal Li. This farm girl is truly obsessive. She followed all the way here. She is about to cry. She fell down. Just a fated tribulation, nothing more. Li Xianyun's face remained cold. His knuckles turned white as he gripped his sword. He didn't look at the ant-sized person on the ground, and his sword flew even faster. I grew tired of running and stopped while I was ahead. We simple folk are like this. When we receive a grand gift, we have to test it a few times, fearing the other party might regret it. Even when receiving a red envelope during the new year, we refuse it repeatedly, but keep our pockets open so the other person can slip it in. My mother taught me that this shows good breeding. Thinking of the new man in the box, I hurried home to continue unwrapping my gift. But when I rushed home, I was stunned. The man was lying on the floor, on the verge of death, clutching my hen, ready to stuff it into his mouth. He sneered, "You are so vicious, trying to starve me to death." The 10th bowl of egg noodle soup was placed on the table. The hen clutched its nest and slapped me. I watched as the man finished the noodle soup. His lips regained some color, and he began to introduce himself. "I am an omen of disaster, the thing you fear most. I am the demon lord Shen Xiong." I didn't expect Li Xianyun to be so arrogant, that he would actually give me the sealed demon lord. Legend has it that the demon lord can summon lightning tribulations with one hand. He is an unruly and rebellious great demon. I suppose Li Xianyun must have already adjusted him before sending him to me. I appraised this gift openly. Broad shoulders and a narrow waist. Shen Xiong was wearing Li Xianyun's old clothes, which didn't fit him very well. They strained, leaving his chest wide open. A scar running right down the middle was from Li Xianyun's blade. "Since Li Xianyun beat you up like this, are all 5 of your limbs still intact?" "It doesn't matter. I wouldn't mind if one was missing. Even a watchdog is cute enough for me." Hatred flickered in Shen Xiong's eyes. What kind of righteous path is Li Xianyun on? His 9,000 disciples from the immortal sect ganged up on me while I was bathing. "So, you were seen naked by all those people. That part I do mind." Shen Xiong turned red with rage and spat out a mouthful of blood. He seemed to recall something, and stared at me with full defensive guard. "It seems you're quite formidable. Able to wound people with just a few words. Speak, what do you want to do?" The sky outside had already darkened. Tomorrow is the first day of the autumn harvest, and I need to save my energy for work. I yawned and crawled into bed. In my haze, Shen Xiong approached and used his palm to warm my neck. How touching. I cuddled his hand. It was icy cold, so I tucked it into my shirt to warm it out of habit. In the past, Li Xianyun's hands were always freezing too. That is how I used to warm them up. The bed was big, so I pulled my new pet in too. "Hey, don't even think about attacking me." Shen Xiong kept struggling, like a vicious dog with its fur standing on end. I gave him a slap. Stop fussing. Sure enough, he quieted down, leaving only the sound of heavy breathing. He lay beside me stiff as a board and started to hiss, trembling and shrieking, his whole body shaking several times. At daybreak, I headed out for the harvest. I rode the ox cart, with Shen Xiong following close behind. His face was fierce and menacing, and whoever dared to glance at him, regardless of their age or frailty, would be met with his cold sneer. Just you wait. And you, just you wait too. And you as well. I tapped him on the head to make Shen Xiong focus on harvesting the wheat, but the old man next door had already finished a whole acre, while Shen Xiong just stood in the field not moving an inch. I sighed. Li Xianyun would have finished in a minute. He would even hold my umbrella, serve tea, and massage my hands. It is fine, you can keep resting. After all, Li Xianyun is a heaven-sent prodigy, so it is only natural that you can't compare to him. Men are so competitive and petty-minded. I counted silently in my heart. Hearing this, Shen Xiong remained expressionless. But with a wave of his hand, he swept the entire wheat field clean. I only took 3 seconds. Was I faster than him? But Shen Xiong had piled the whole village's wheat into my basket. The whole village looked over, stunned, dumbfounded. I went from house to house to apologize. They sighed as they looked at Shen Xiong. Your ex-husband was so virtuous and family-oriented, and so reliable too. Why on earth did he leave? We really miss him so much. He could deliver a piglet, build a dam, and stop a baby from crying at night. This vase here, well, I won't even go there. Shen Xiong was so angry, he only ate 3 bowls of rice that night. How could I possibly be inferior to him? It seemed to trigger something in him. He started competing with Li Xianyun in every possible way. The demon lord squatted in the room, flipping through the books Li Xianyun had bought, studying them seriously. Postnatal care for piglets, illustrated guide to hydraulic engineering, ghost stories to scare children, how to be a good husband. I quietly closed the door. I mustn't disturb my pet's self-improvement, but as I stepped out of the yard, I saw a line of immortals flying in on their swords. Leading them was none other than Li Xianyun. He looked ethereal, landing just outside my fence, not taking a single step further. Miss Chen, I just happened to be passing by. Is the spirit pet I gave you still behaving itself? I waved my hand with a smile, rubbing my eyes which had just grown red. He is wonderful. Thank you. Li Xianyun's gaze swept across the room, that small space where we had spent 3 years, living and breathing together in intimacy, seeing the woman before him with reddened eyes. A strange, indescribable bitterness welled up in his heart. I noticed Li Xianyun frown. He looked down at me from his elevated position, once again revealing the pity of an immortal. I hurried to prove that I was doing just fine without him. I pointed at the newly repaired fence. The plants and trees the immortal cut down before, I have already replanted them all. The hen's coop is finished too, and there is a diligent, book-reading pet inside. I busied myself grabbing Li Xianyun with a touch of small-minded boasting. Oh right, the spirit pet you sent can even read. He is very human-like and obedient. Come inside and see. The spirit pet was over 8 feet tall, with light-colored fur and a rather gentle nature. Yes, but he has a bit of a temper. I've tamed this pet. His personality is usually docile. He even uses the toilet in the right spot now. He didn't before. A dignified demon lord used to go to the bathroom anywhere. How embarrassing. Seeing me suppressing a laugh, Li Xianyun continued to whisper bad things about the pet. He doesn't like taking baths either. You need to take him for walks every day. Otherwise, he has too much energy. At night, he'll fuss in bed like a child. I'll give you a leash to restrain him. Tie him outside the door at night. I prepared to push open the door to let Li Xianyun see the pet hard at work learning. Immortal Master, Miss Chen is still bothering you. The immortal who arrived was the lady in white from before. She was an old friend of Li Xianyun's. She looked full of dissatisfaction. With the recent floods, you've been busy saving lives, and she is still bothering you with these trivial matters. How can a mere beast compare to human lives? Li Xianyun suddenly realized, pulling his hand away from mine. He backed out of the yard again, increasing the distance between us. Miss Chen, I have urgent matters to attend to. I cannot waste time on such trifles. You don't need to go out of your way to delay me with the pet. Just treat him like a normal dog. Pet him more and offer plenty of encouragement. It is as simple as that. You should have said so earlier. I'm a dog-raising expert. I bowed respectfully to my ex-husband to thank him. Thank you, Immortal Master. I won't disturb your efforts to save the world. Li Xianyun froze, casting a look at me, seemingly unaccustomed to that form of address. I clutched the dog leash he had just given me, eager to put it on my pet, and didn't even notice that Li Xianyun kept looking back again and again. Upon entering the room, the demon lord was squatting on the ground, buried in How to Be a Good Husband. His ears were burning red as he read. This was the booklet Li Xianyun had bought. I had intended to burn it, but leaving it for my pet to study wasn't bad. I squatted behind Shen Xiong to read along. This is a bit exaggerated. Is this something a human can actually do? If Li Xianyun can do it, it shouldn't be that hard. Ah. Why are you here? Shen Xiong turned pale, hiding the book inside his tunic. He stammered and once again started comparing himself. I can do that too. I'm definitely better than him. Men have such a strong competitive streak, it is quite handy. I tied the leash around my pet's neck. His eyes reddened as he cursed and tried to break free. I said that Li Xianyun could wear 10 of them. Shen Xiong stopped struggling immediately. Oh right, take off your clothes. Indeed. Are you going to do that to me? Li Xianyun can take his off in 3 seconds, can you? As soon as the demon lord was bare, I tossed him into the tub. Immortal Li told me, don't go around making a mess from now on. You need to bathe every day. If you don't behave, I'll spank you. I was busy feeding the chickens. I heard an angry roar behind me. How dare you humiliate me? Human, I will destroy everything you hold dear. First, I'll slaughter your entire clan. I'm an orphan. I'm sorry. He then threatened to burn my money, but I don't have any. Then I will destroy your lover. I don't have one of those either lately. The demon lord looked shocked. You have no family, no money, and no partner. You're completely empty-handed. That is truly powerful. Then what is the most important thing to you? I clucked as I fed the chickens, the hens, the newly harvested wheat, and you. These are all important to me. I often use these words to coax my pet. The demon lord stammered, breathing deeply. A devious trick. After that, Shen Xiong became much quieter. The taming method Li Xianyun taught was quite effective. It is just that my pet always looks at me with a complicated expression. When I tie up my hair, he blushes. A mere parlor trick. I went to the market to buy him clothes. Shen Xiong muttered to himself again. She can haggle a tail down to a single copper. This woman is not to be trifled with. She is terrifying. At night, when I asked him to soak my feet, Shen Xiong looked furious. Don't think I'll ever surrender. By the way, is the water too hot? He even started volunteering to warm my bed at night. Shen Xiong glared at me fiercely from under the covers. What poison did you put in the quilt? My legs went weak. I ignore whatever my pet is thinking. I only care about what he can do. That's just what a pragmatic, honest person is like. As a reward, I walk him every day. I rub his head and groom his hair. Dogs love sunbathing, so I take Shen Xiong for walks near the wheat fields. I even bring a bag along and whistle at him. Shen Xiong frowned. If you need to do that, just let me know in advance. Okay? We are striving for the Green Village title. No relieving yourself wherever you want. Shen Xiong's eyes widened, and he scratched his chin. You care about me so much. Very well, I'll reluctantly keep you company for 100 years. But we didn't make it to 100 years. Someone broke into the yard in the middle of the night. That person pushed the door open and shouted, My lord, your subordinate is late. The person in black saw the demon lord washing a woman's bodice. His eyes turned red, he coughed up blood, knelt down, and shouted, My lord. Let me suffer this humiliation in your stead. Shen Xiong firmly guarded the wash basin. What are you doing? The man in black knelt to me as well. You may humiliate me, but you shall not humiliate our king. I got up from the rocking chair full of confusion. Sweetie, is this your friend? Sit down and have some tea. My lord, your title is an omen of disaster. You are the most feared being in the 3 realms. How could she possibly call you sweetie? It seems this woman's power is even greater than Li Xianyun's, so you are enduring humiliation and biding your time. Your subordinate shall withdraw first. I will return to help you break the seal. He turned and ran away. Shen Xiong cursed angrily. Close the door on your way out. The man in black turned back to close the door softly. The next day, I caught the man in black hiding in the chicken coop. He was Shen Xiong's lieutenant. The lieutenant sobbed, begging me to let Shen Xiong go. Our lord studied diligently day and night. That is how he became king. If you let him go, I will become your slave instead. The previous demon lord poisoned his heirs every day, burning them, freezing them, or roasting them in furnaces for fun. Our Lord was very strong, stronger than all of them. That's why he survived the longest. That's why he became the demon lord. And now he is in your yard washing feet and drying clothes. Don't you think it is a waste of talent? But he seems quite happy every day. He is just putting on a brave face. How could a king be content staying here? If you don't believe me, let him go. See if he is willing to come back. I suppose so, if he hadn't been tamed by Li Xianyun, bound by a rope. The demon lord wouldn't stay here otherwise. My little farm doesn't need to waste such labor. Others need him more than I do. The lieutenant pleaded with teary eyes. I'm a softie for tears. Fine, I'll let him go. Are we done here? When Shen Xiong came home carrying his hoe, I told him to go to the market with his friend. Shen Xiong handed the rope around his neck to me and asked warily, "What is it this time?" The man in black had a bright idea and pointed at the laundry pole. "My lord, Miss Chen wants to buy some clothes." I looked at the camisole he was pointing at and fell silent. Shen Xiong, however, looked thoughtful and blushed. "So that is it." "Yes, let's go, my lord." I released the pet my ex-husband had given me. At dinner, I left a full pot of rice for Shen Xiong. That night, Shen Xiong didn't return. I reheated the rice again and again. The next day, he didn't return either. The third day was the same. Only those who want to be home will return. You can't force it. I fed the chickens and harvested the wheat all by myself. At night, a weasel came to steal my chickens. I was able to handle it on my own. I don't need Shen Xiong, nor do I need Li Xianyun. After all, I've always been on my own.